Okay, I'm just gonna make this a little bit quick because I totally have no plan to make this video, but I really need to talk about this. So for any non-Indonesians, I will say that on the July 30th, our Ministry of Information, or we call them Kominfo, basically blocked so many applications including Steam, Epic Game Store, and of course the notable ones are PayPal, alongside many utility applications for IT workers like Stack Overflow and more. And of course, the reaction from the netizen of Indonesia are swift and a lot of profanities are invoked. Even I basically said some unwarranted things towards Kominfo, but it's not like I'm unjustified. I am angry after all about why they did this in the first place. And while there are many ways to work around it, it's safe to say that the first reaction will always be shock and of course anger. But after reading it for a little bit, I came to the conclusion that this whole fiasco with Kominfo can be summed up as a massive public relations disaster. And this stems from one possible theory that the companies are the belligerent ones. And if so, then the fault lies both with the company and Kominfo. Because the companies, if they are truly belligerent ones, means they don't want to go with the local regulations, which is justifiable. However, Kominfo's mistake here is that they did this in a sudden way and in what I would call a blanket solution type of thing, which is the type of solution that would hit everyone involved, good guys and bad. Now back to the idea where the companies are the belligerent ones, which means Kominfo have a room to mitigate the PR disaster by saying we have warned them so many times before, but they are still not going to obey the rules. And that is justifiable. But in reality, Kominfo said nothing. Which means the first time people are going to see this, it's entirely Kominfo's fault. Now I think that's it if we look at it from a general point of view. Now I want to talk a little bit about the local games industry. There was a report on local games industry ecosystem for 2021 published by Kominfo themselves in collaboration with Nico Partners and the Indonesian Game Association. In it, they mostly talk about how many people are playing on what platform, and basically they are mostly talking about the business side of things, the potential earnings side of things. However, one thing that must be mentioned is that the Indonesian development scene is basically trying to sell their games on a global market. And some of them have been pretty successful globally. For example, Dreadout, which was covered by the YouTuber PewDiePie, and then Coffee Talk, the alternative to the waifu bartending game that many international YouTubers have covered. And then there is Coral Island, basically the Indonesian version of Harvest Moon, but instead we are also trying to get people to care about the coral reefs. And then there is Ghost Parade, an Indonesian game that got published by Axis Games, okay, an international publisher for the PlayStation 4 version. And then there is also Legran Legacy, a game which is basically the Indonesian JRPG that somehow got the money to bring Amy Evans to sing one song. The point is, we Indonesian developers are constantly looking for recognition from around the world. And by blocking Steam and Epic Game Store, and perhaps maybe GOG is included somehow, we lost the platform to market Indonesian games toward the entire world, which is absolutely stupid considering that even the government agreed to help Indonesian developers prosper. And now we are going to talk about arguably the biggest PR disaster the ministry has ever done for this particular case, to the point that I think the people at the ministry has no such thing as a public relations knowledge, and that is coming from a guy that is not in a public relations position at all. The ministry said that the vacancies these applications left can be filled with locally made apps, which is absolutely stupid for many reasons, and I'm going to break them bit by bit. First of all, if you want to go the way China did it, make the app first like 2 years ago before you start blocking everything. Because currently, there is no local alternatives for Steam, Epic Game Store, or even PayPal. And even if there is already a local made alternatives, I don't think people are going to move. Especially if the quality is dog shit, to say the least. Even if we are talking about a global game market, some people don't want to move to Epic Game Store from Steam. What makes you think a local app can stand toe-to-toe against Steam and Epic Game Store, especially in the features department? And even then, if you want to make that local app, the price is going to be very expensive. Especially if we're talking about outreach and perhaps licensing to get people to put their games into the local store, especially if, like, for example, if you want to bring Dragon Age 3 into the Indonesian game store, or perhaps a licensed IP like Star Wars. I don't know how this works, but it's going to be very expensive, and I don't think it's going to be sustainable for a local developer. And now that I have basically established why making a local equivalent is not the solution, what Kominfo said about replacing the Steam Epic Game Store vacancy with local app is nothing short of a laughable idea, because number one, there is no alternative, and even if there is an alternative, it's going to be very limited. So of course, Kominfo is going to get mocked even further, especially from me. Now, at the moment of recording, Steam, Epic Game Store, and PayPal are being taken care of so that they are not getting blocked in Indonesia. But from a public relations perspective, the damage is already done. And if Telltale Games has anything to say about this, the people will remember this. So that's it from me, really. I truly have no plan to make this video, and heck, I didn't even bother to write a script about it, or even edit it like in a good way. I just wanted to get my thoughts out first before my ill will against the Kominfo has faded away, because I recently gained, well, a double copy of a limited SSR unit in Fate Grand Order. So see you next time in the next video. Bye!